Hi, my name is Thomas Hübl. I want to invite you and welcome you to the Collective Healing Conference. The conference is a continuation of our collective trauma summits that we ran over 5 years. We reached 400,000 people from all around the world. This year, we are expanding our conference with an all-immersive online event that connects people worldwide that are interested in healing individual, ancestral, and collective trauma and its effects on humanity.
We're so concerned with thinking like other human beings that we forget that we never learn about human beings by trying to think like human beings. The way we're thinking now is deranged. Our sensory gating has been programmed by civilization, not by ecology. And the passage, which I think I quote in The Flowering Wand, that I always come back to is, in A Retelling of the Arthurian Myths by T.H. White, he explains to Arthur that he can't learn how to be a human king by thinking about humans or kings. He has to be transformed into other animals. So it's through his experiences physically embodying, pretending to be plants and trees and fish, that he learns how better to be a human. And then, of course, we can go to the ancient bardic traditions all over Europe. And of course, to become a shaman, to become an ecotone between the village and the forest, the world of men, and then the world of other beings, you have to, in order to embody that ecotone, you have to learn how to be other beings. You have to develop an empathic muscularity to physically imagine what it feels like to be something else. So I think for me, I spend a lot of time trying to be goofy. I think humor is the answer. We take everything so seriously. So we have to speak crow badly. We have to be mountain badly. We have to be goofy. We have to risk looking a little stupid to other people. But I actually think in those moments of doing something that we don't quite believe in, we open up the door for miraculous physical transformations that, go outside and pretend to be a tree. Pretend that you're a mycorrhizal system on the ground, like lie on the ground and pretend like you could taste with your entire body. Kids know how to do this. Kids are always trying on different ontological frames and different ways of believing and knowing and being. And we can do that too. We just have to give each other permission to do it. Each person who does it permissions another person. So I think the best way to have empathy for other human beings is to start pretending to be things other than humans.
Quote from another Kai, actually, the sociologist Kai Erikson, who wrote in the 1970s, I believe, about collective trauma. And what he says about collective trauma, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but he says, by collective trauma, I mean a blow to the connective tissues that connect us in our basic social lives so that I continue to exist, though damaged and afraid, and you continue to exist, though distant and possibly dangerous, but we no longer continue to exist as linked cells as part of a larger communal organism. So I first read that quote when I was 21, I think, and it sent a shockwave through me. It took a long time to really understand what it meant. But I always go back to this when I think about what is the collective body. The collective body is the experience of being part of something that is bigger than ourselves. Not only in the sense of ideology. Sometimes people say, I want to be part of something bigger than myself, and it's like a political idea, which is great. But by the communal organism, I really think about us being linked cells. Like, really, when somebody is suffering, I feel it. When somebody is in joy, I feel it. When somebody else is in their pleasure, I feel that also. And so much of the dominant, colonial, highly traumatized culture that we live in is about detaching from that, separating from that. All those people over there could be murdered in warfare. All these bombs are falling, across the sea. I'm not a part of that. I don't have to think about it. And it's like, Of course, we're a part of it, and we know that instinctively. I see all around me, people still haven't forgotten it, but we're struggling, right? Like the dominant culture is always saying, focus on making money, focus on doing your job, focus on being professional. And the collective body reminds us that's an illusion. What is real is the experience of being in relationship with others.
So a lot of our journey, I think, into even if we say awakening, is about remembering, right? That word mindfulness, if we talk about from the Buddhist perspective, the word mindful, a translation of that is to remember. So we're constantly in this state of, another word people use now is becoming, right? I'm becoming. I like to say I'm remembering and becoming more of who I really am, who I am in the big sense of that, spirit, love, heart, consciousness. And so I like to use that frame. It's just helpful and it connects with many people who are also remembering or collectively remembering.
Some people use mindfulness kind of just in a functional way and kind of, I don't know, like don't fully grasp the full teaching of it, right? And there's a certain kind of cutting themselves off from the world and not seeing the full impact. Right. It's like take 2 doses of mindfulness and get your ROIs in by kind of up or whatever it is. Right. Yeah. And I think heartfulness, relatefulness, bodyfulness are all interconnected because like at the heart of mindfulness, like if I let myself be mindful, but in kind of not just okay, I'm really aware of my stress levels so I can become more productive. But I allow my mindful attention to travel into like the world, right? I notice there are people who are suffering. I'm aware of that. And I open myself to them. I sense them. And then I notice my body when I sense them, right? This is why I think that bodyfulness and somatics is still important. It's like, if I actually let myself fully come into my body and fully come into my heart, I cannot do harm to you because I feel it in my own body and my own heart. Like I sense the interconnectedness of me and you, right? That I'm part of this web. We forget that we are this interconnected web. And if I let myself really follow the teachings of mindfulness, bodyfulness, heartfulness, and relatefulness. And here I am embedded in the world with you. And I sense, when I do this, this is how it ripples out. Ouch, ouch. How can I continue in that way? It's not even like ethics because you should. It's ethics because you must. Right, because like it's not an external should, it's an internal ouch, because my heart cannot bear to feel what I know happens when I act this way. Right, so it's a more, I think it's not kind of a moral should, it's an internal. I recognize the inseparability of myself and you, and therefore we're in it together, and let's be together that way.
How do we acknowledge that these things are currently happening, right? Collective trauma is happening in our world right now. And if you zoom in on what our ancestors went through and where we are today and try to acknowledge what happened, give voice to what happened and heal it, that love and compassion that our ancestors had and still have is why we're here. You hear stories about them praying and surviving through the hardest things for the future generations because they knew that the love for the children, the wakayanja, as we say, the sacred little ones in our language, is so powerful that they would endure what they needed to make sure future generations could find healing.